As many in this room, I'm sure, are aware, I was a big Christina Caramo supporter, up until very recently. My background in this only goes back about a year when I got re-involved in politics. About August of 2022, I went to a county meeting, went to a state committee meeting, met somebody from Christina's campaign, Christy Klein. Okay? Really sweet girl. Her husband, Stephen, was the treasurer of the SOS race, and I offered to do a fundraiser for her. And I put together a $20,000 fundraiser for Christina Caramo in about 2 weeks. Just called some people, had them go to the golf course, charged them $1,000, had her talk, and gave her the money. We didn't take anything, we didn't do anything, and I got involved in politics again. Now, when I say again, it's because I used to work for John Yow at Strategic National in politics. Back in the 2008 to 2010 cycle, I worked on Pete Hoekster's campaign. I volunteered for him at Mackinac. I knocked doors for other candidates because when Strategic National first started and John was just dropping out of college, he formed it with a guy named John somebody else. But their very first employee was Adam Melger, who was one of my best friends, who was at Michigan State, and he got this job. Now, I always loved political events. I loved keeping up on everything, so I was gravitated towards it. Because I know a lot of people are going to say a lot of things about why I'm up here. I'm here to address them all. I'm a bankrupt, felon, former alcoholic, right, who hasn't had a drink in 14 years. Yeah. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You're not going to question my integrity because I pay. And everybody knows I write checks. I don't take checks. I choose how I do this, and it was the one thing that my wife let me do after January 6th. Because I had like a mental breakdown when I got home from there. I didn't go in or do anything crazy, but I had a mental breakdown. And so what did I do? I got on my phone, I would text and read all the articles, and I would stew. I wouldn't pour into my kids, I wouldn't pour into my family. My wife said, get off the couch and go do something then. And so she said if I was going to do this, that you get to choose what you do, though. You get to choose what you put in. Everyone in this room gets to choose what you put in. This is hard, because tonight you're not going to get everything that you're supposed to get. And I'm going to tell you why. Because on advice of counsel, because of a continuing investigation, I can no longer go through all that stuff. And other people aren't going to talk tonight either. You guys don't know what you're in for. I'm telling you right now. The flood is coming. Okay? I lost all my friends because of this. And when I resigned, because somebody wanted to know why I resigned, I did so because of my wife. Because I got 4 kids. And I couldn't take phone calls at 9 o'clock 3 nights a week, have a war room meeting, go to a district meeting, write checks on the weekends, go to these meetings. I wasn't serving the district. I understand that. And that's the real reason why I resigned. But I'm going to tell you what, it's a blessing because I didn't resign until after Mackinac, because 2 weeks before Mackinac, Christina Caramo called us to have a meeting. First of all, it wasn't Christina, it was Phil. Phil came to me and said, hey, listen, I'm talking with the people at the administration. Mackinac is in trouble. Will you run it? You can ask them, because one of them was on the call. She can back it all up. Everything I said is going to be true. Don't worry about that. So we started getting into it. And what she said is, they're talking about the program, and we got all these great speakers, and it was like puff. Let me tell you the reality. The reality is they had $30,000 in the bank account, and they were staring down the barrel of $180,000 in liability, with 2 weeks to go. Lois was let go 6 weeks before this. What happened in those 6 weeks that you had to wait 2 weeks before to come to me? So what did I say? I said, okay, I'm going to make the plan, and I did that night. And they were in the meeting on Saturday when I did it. They came back with me, and I came up with a plan to save it. How you would do it, you would do scholarships with Riley, because Riley had $30,000, but they couldn't afford the food for the grand. So if we booked her rooms through the grand, but they got scholarships for the food, that would at least lower the liability of the hotel. We'd have a straw poll because they weren't going to do that, and that's the biggest draw of Mackinac. Every time you search Mackinac Island Policy Conference, the first thing that comes up in all the Google results is what? Straw poll. It's a presidential year for Mackinac. Okay, so they didn't reach the politicians. She said that and call her back. I don't even know if that's still true to this day. So I started calling people. Nobody was reached out to. I started calling some politicians, but somebody said something to me. I called, I texted Johnny Yob. I said, Johnny, I know you're running Perry Johnson's deal. Give me Paul Portis's number. I got to call Paul. So I called Paul. And Paul said something to me that really, and I knew it. But I was at a state committee meeting, and I asked this of my friends. I said, all that money that we raised, that's not Mackinac money, right? They got the Mackinac money, and they raised the money, right? So it's like, they got it all. And Paul said to me when I was talking about the Perry thing, he goes, I just want to understand it, because Paul's the former director, right? He was under Weiser. Right? He knows where all the bodies are buried, this guy. And he says to me, he goes, I can't believe they ran it all through the Fed account. I said, hold on a second, wait, what? He's like, yeah, and like it made sense to me because I'm looking at the filings and you got numbers going for like $2,150, like $2,175, like $1,300, right? Like donations coming in. Those are the exact room rates. This isn't when I get through all this stuff and I can't even. I feel like, and I'll take it all, right? You're mad because I'm not going to tell you something today. That's fine. I got a present for you all in about 2 weeks. Let's go through some of it. So. And I'm going to bounce through this. So I'm just going to read this. Staff hired as employees, then paid as independent contractors for the first 3 months of work, which is illegal, then converted back to W-2 employees on May. That's a fact. So I Googled it, right? Because Google tells you everything. Is that illegal? I don't know. Is that illegal? I can read it. You want me to read it? It is not legal to hire a salaried employee as a 1099 contractor. Okay. We can go through it all. I'm sure there's some variants. If there's any lawyers in the room, you have to understand the work conditions, so on and so forth. Don't worry, I've had those qualifications, conversations I've had with people that were in the roles. Let's go into some of the penalties, why they didn't want to pay them. So what they did is they didn't pay anybody for 3 months. And they said they didn't have access to the bank accounts. We found out that was a lie. They had access to the bank accounts in 12 days, 2 weeks. By the 1st of March, they were in control of the bank accounts. But they didn't pay people for 3 months. Then they came up with a big check and were like, hey, guess what? You're a 1099 now. Sorry, it's not how it works. Anybody own a business in this room? Raise your hands. Who writes payroll? Who knows that this is illegal? Okay? There's the penalties. That's why they did it. They didn't want to pay the penalties. Because they didn't pay the people regularly. Because they didn't have their act together. Okay? Let's go through this one real quick. This is a filing. This is all public documentation. That's why I'm sharing this. This is one individual's FEC. Their payroll's on FEC, by the way, not to the administrative account. Okay? There you go, people. There's your transparency that you're promised. All right, so, you got checks in here, checks in here. I found this check, but this check I couldn't find because it didn't go through that account. It got cash somewhere else. So here's a question. What if they reported they paid you to the FEC, but they never paid you that amount? Anybody a brain surgeon? Is that a violation? Okay, let's keep going, people. Here we go. There's the $8,000 check. It was an offset. It wasn't a payment. Okay? There's the $12,000 check. That's a transfer to the payroll account. I can track that. Okay, you want me to keep going? Let's go. Here's the access to the payroll account. They had access on May 3rd. Payroll fees coming out. May 31st, May 31st, April 7th, or March, yeah, down there. So they had it early. They said they couldn't go back, but they're paying it. Somebody's getting paid through ADP. And then you see it kick back in where? Kicks back in right there in June, right? Big in and out. We'll go. I can't go over some of the big transfers. That's other stuff. But all right, party was broke. Let's just go through this. The party debt. The party is in debt. $460,000, she said during a Muskegon County event. So that is something that we're working through, but we don't have funding to get started and get our initial operations going. Hopefully the former chair will be gracious enough to pay that off. You remember that statement? Yeah. Who remembers the first state committee member meeting where he said, they left us $2 million in debt? And then, hold on, the best part is they transferred all of our operating capital, to pay off the debt. So that's not operating capital, that's debt. That's called paying off debt. Anybody who owns a business knows that, you don't get taxed on loans. You just got to pay them off. The only thing you deduct is the interest. Okay, so let's go through this. This was in her little email she sent out to everybody. Her little truth versus fiction email. That was cute. All right, here we go. As verified in the FEC attachment, 1.9 was transferred by the previous administration. To pay off what? Let's just talk about that real quick before we go any further, people. That was Ron Weiser paying off his own debt with his own credit card, with his own name attached to it. She couldn't qualify for the line of credit because her credit isn't like Ron Weiser's credit. So they shut it down. But he paid it off beforehand. And you know what he did? He didn't pay it all off. He gave her the choice. He left that money in the accounts. He left $280,000 in the accounts for her to decide, will you pay down all the debt and be free from it? Or here's $280,000 to ramp up your operations. But guess what you hear? You hear this guy was a criminal and he left us bankrupt and this and that. Yeah. It was his money. Why would he steal his own money? People don't have to take money out of their bank account, put it in a state party bank account, steal it from it, and then to get it. He put it in there. It was all his. She lied. That's a lie. I'm done with this. I'm done being nice about it. There's the transfer made for the debt. It was paid off. The line of credit was a $3 million line of credit. I'm sure if there was negotiation, she would have had access to some of it. Here's what it goes into, right? So the bank accounts in this account, which is the administrative account, at the beginning, when she takes over, right, March 13th, how much money is in that account? That was the money that was left there for her. He didn't leave it bankrupt. He didn't leave her broke. He left her enough. He left her enough. Right? 73. She pulled out 73 grand. On the 20th of June. Guess what? I've got the accounts for the new bank. There's no deposits for 73 grand. There's no deposits in any of them on the June 20th for 73 grand. Where'd the 73 grand go? Where's the check? Your state committee members are here. Where's the check? Guess what? There's more. There's another one. Wait. There's 4 more. Over $100,000 that can't be accounted for in deposits. This is your party. Boss money. Here we go. This one's out in the public. Christina issues a statement about one of the transactions. Here it is. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Paid $70 through a vendor website. I paid $75,000 for items including 8 laptops, custom security. By the way, okay, custom security, everyone's got the Mackinac documents because she sent me an unprotected link. Bummer. That was me. Bummer. I paid a vendor $75K for all these. Okay, you know what she said. Let's just go through this. This is Joe Moss, okay? It was a total of $88,000, not $75,000. Somebody's in this room that can say some things, but on advice of counsel, they're not going to say anything anymore. Because we're coming. Here we go. For Liberty. There's the federal. So here's a question. If they paid $75,000 for it, but they were putting everything into the Fed account, why did they only start doing everything in the Fed account on April 1st? Because on March 31st, they made a $75,000 payment that doesn't have to be reported, isn't transparent, and it's in the administrative account. So you would have never known that Joe Moss got a $75,000 payment if I wouldn't have gotten these documents. This is your party. There it is. Joe Moss is a consultant, part of Ottawa Impact out in the West. I know it. We love them. Ottawa Impact, they're great. Let me tell you what Joe Moss pays for. Joe Moss pays for his stuff, okay? Let's look at some of this. So here's the article, right? You know, Troy, or this is reported, so we can talk about this. Okay, here we go. This is what Joe Moss pays for services. Everybody read that? $20, $30, $50 for digital marketing, $25 for this, $35 for that, right? $99 for technology infrastructure. That's a far cry of 90 grand. Okay? Here's another one. These are all of his quarterly reports. So this is his entire personal PAC that he used to run for office and that he uses for all of his political expenditures, okay? This is every single transaction. It's 94 cents, $15, $75, 94 cents, $69, $50, $15, $50, $75. Where is 90 grand? How can he charge us when he charges us, but his own PAC, he doesn't even pay that? You're going to find out more about this one. The fundraising plan, let's get into it, people. What were you promised? What were you promised? You had $35,000 in your bank account as of August 10th. There's elections going on today. Where is the party? Where is the data? Where is the poll challenging? Where is the infrastructure? Where is your team? This is not how we do things. I'm sorry, guys. I'm fired up. All right, let's go into it. By April to March, she had 250. She had 250, but she had it from Wisely. Okay, so that should have been the jump off. She had a head start. By June, we should have had 1.2. We're in this range right now. We got 30 grand. I don't know about you. I've had employees in my past. If they perform like this, to the door. Now let's go into some real cool stuff. These are the Secretary of State campaigns, because she had that little letter she sent out about, oh, Christina Caramo, $15,000 from my PAC into this PAC into this PAC. I don't have the slide up here, but if anybody wants to see it after this place, I will show you. She transferred that money in at exactly the time the accounts were negative to cover a check. And as soon as there was funds from ANADOT to come in to cover it, she transferred those $15,000 in funds right back into her account. This is Dana Nessel telling you she's coming, by the way. This is Dana Nessel telling you what happens when our party's under audit and, I don't know, say, the primary season. How active are you going to be? And listen, it's not going to be the state races. The House is going to be protected. They're raising money. But what about your librarians? What about your commissioners? What about your mayors? The people that count on this party? What is going to happen to them? Here's another one from the FEC. They told them if they don't reply by the 2nd of October at midnight with all these violations that I haven't even touched, people, but I got it all, that they're coming for an audit too. It's like someone's trying to burn it down. Okay? Let me just show you something. This was their response. Let me go back to that. Read it. This is public record, people. Research this and read it. This is their response. They said, listen, if you don't freaking respond by this time, this is serious. There are no more requests. We're coming for you in an audit. It says it right in this document. This is their response. At 11:30, it was due by midnight on the 2nd. At 11:30, they filed this bullshit response. They are not serious people. Okay? This is not serious. I'm going to give you some quick final thoughts.
Explain what was wrong with the response. You're gitch galloping this.
Okay.
You're not explaining this to anybody.
Hey, listen.
The people in the room have no idea what you're saying. I want to understand it, but you're flipping through these things.
Because I don't have time for it.
Read it.
And I shouldn't even be speaking tonight.
We
So I'm sorry you're impacted, right? I got
time. I'm here.
You're ready. All right, so let's just go back to the final thoughts. This is what was spent in 2022. That's not even a presidential year cycle for us. It's going to have to be more than this. That's a reality you guys got to let sink in right now. You got 13 months. You got 13 months to figure this out and fix it. I burned everything down to do this for you. Those are my best friends, by the way. I just want you to know that. My whole fucking team.
Same.
They're my best friends.
Same.
This is what it's going to take for you. Okay? Let's just go through what a party does. They're preparing for statewide elections. Parties are responsible for organizing and mobilizing voters, developing policies favoring the interest, electoral counts, identifying candidates. Candidates for state office chosen in primary. Oh, they're their support network. There's people in this office, in this room right now, that ran for office, and that state party provides support. You know that. Where is your party? You are the party. You're the body. Make a phone call. We checked into the offices. There's nobody there. They're there now. After Mackinac, the fire alarm got pulled when somebody started talking. Let's talk about this. This is what she had on the slide, by the way. This is the very first state committee meeting. I'm going to read what the Ron Weiser administration was. State committee was in the dark. Sound familiar? Decisions were made by a few. Sound familiar? No transition, burned out. He left you $280,000 and paid off all the fucking debt.
Okay,
Sorry.
Warren, there's kids in here.
You're right. This is what Christina promised. State Committee Transparency and Partnership. The State Committee involved in all the decisions. Transition processes will be made for the next chairman with what? And Ron Weiser, the gold ruled. Christina, God rules. We're going to talk about that next. We should be judged by the fruits. We should be judged by our fruits. And the liars are the fruit of Satan. I have this woman in more lies than I can even count right now. And I promise you, they're all going to be listed soon. Here's another one. We will not lie to you. We will not betray you. This is where you're sitting right now. These are facts. I got it all. As of June 30th, the Michigan Republican Party reported its federal fundraising committee that had $146,000. At the exact same time they reported that, they had 66. That's a lie. And liars are the fruit of Satan. I'm done with this. Here's some funny ones for the end. That's Robert Owens, will dig at him. Right? This is Christina Caramo, posted about Scripture. I think she doesn't understand what it means. That's it. Thank you.